Wow, your throwaway has broken Nick. Nick broke.
Right.
We're running
I
it
never
off.
heard him laugh like that.
Okay, here we go. The Arizona Cardinals and Kyler Murray agreeing to a new deal, 5 years, $230.5 million. They really had no choice. You got to pay him or you run that risk of a messy start to the season. Makes Kyler the second highest paid player in the league. Nick, you had your doubts about Kyler's durability, among other things. You think Arizona will regret this?
I mean, I don't think this contract's going to age well. And here's the deal. Everyone's like, oh, you have to do it. No, you don't. You don't have to do it. And the idea of, oh, you can't have Kyler be unhappy. Sure you can. In this instance, you can. The NFL is not the NBA, and quarterbacks after 3 years are not guys who are about to hit free agency. It's just different metrics. And here's the issue for Kyler's contract. Can we show my quarterback pyramid for a moment? And I know there's somewhat controversial, the pyramid within the staff, but does anybody think Kyler is a top 7 guy? No. Does anybody think he's a top 8 guy? No. Top 10? Maybe. You'd be like, oh, I'd rather have him than Dak or Deshaun Watson. Sure. But I know you guys think Russ should be up there. So, he's, what is he, the 9th, 10th, 11th best quarterback in football? We've seen him in one playoff game. He was horrific in that playoff game. Had 140 yards, had a 40 passer rating, and every single year, Brew, come December, he's bad. Just bad, I think, because he gets banged up. So, no, I don't. Listen, right now, Kyler and Kingsbury are both locked up through 2027. I'm certain one of them's not making it to the end of the deal, and I'm not that confident that either one of them's going to make it.
I disagree, Nick. I'm fine with this deal with the Cardinals. I don't think they'll regret it. When he first made this demand, I did think it was ridiculous, and I felt like you did. Look, come out and play. All right, but then I started thinking about it, Nick, and a couple months ago I realized, you know what? If they don't pay him now, guess what? Next offseason or the offseason after that, you're just going to end up paying him more. All right, we saw it with the Cowboys, with Dak. They may have been able to get Dak in the high 20s at one point, $28 million a year. And they ended up paying him $40. All right, so they did the right thing. And I'm not saying he's Tom Brady or Aaron Rodgers, but I do think the top 10, several of the guys in that change every year or every few years, and he could move up into it. And look, the fact of the matter is this. They were 3-13 and hadn't made the playoffs in 3 years when he got there. They've improved every year, and last year they win 11 games and make the playoffs. Unless you're giving all that credit to Cliff Kingsbury, you got to give Kyler a lot of that credit. And whilst he's improved his completion percentage, his yards per game, and his passer rating each of the last 3 years. So I think he is on the rise. His running, he ran less last year. So he shows you he can do it with his arm. DeAndre Hopkins missed basically the second half of the season, and Murray still was effective. So I think it was fine, and they had to do it because he is a franchise quarterback.
I guess. He's also 22, 23, and 1 in his career. So does that warrant the second biggest contract ever? I guess. DeAndre Hopkins going to miss more games this year, so I hope he comes out of the gate strong. And here's the thing. Cliff Kingsbury, Nick, had this quote out in a podcast. I'll read it to you. I thought it was a little bit too far. You see the market for the quarterbacks, what guys are getting paid. There's very few QBs when you line up every Sunday and say, we have a chance. Our guy's one of those guys that gives you a chance. And at his best, I don't know who's better in this league, huh? Are you sure?
Do.
I mean, are you?
Yeah.
So do I. So does everybody. So does Kyler Murray when he reads his quote. He's like, that's nice, but that's a little bit too much. So, look, I think I agree with you, Nick. I think they're locked into Kyler now, so maybe Cliff goes. Here's the other little minor league story here. Mahomes was asked about his contract. Nick, just quickly, because I know we got to move on to the baby goat. Yeah. Do you think Mahomes ever has to go back to the table and be like, hey, now, did you see what Kyler's getting paid? I'm much better than Kyler. Let's redo my deal.
He doesn't have to go
Can't go
back.
that way.
He doesn't have to go back to the table. They build him a table in his house, and they come to him every 3 years for tribute, and he gets a little more money.
Gotcha.
But Mahomes,
Josh
listen,
Allen, the
Mahomes
Bills
said he's
fans
set for
go
life,
to
buddy.
Hopefully,
And then Josh Allen breaks
hopefully,
it. Wilds, you and I on the same page.
He's set for life with, $3 million.
Bill Belichick doing some Bill Belichickian things this offseason yet again, this time for officially not naming offensive and defensive coordinators for the upcoming season. I'm not big on titles, says the greatest coach in NFL history, who I'm sure would be upset if they took his head coaching title away. Wild, something or
Jenna.
nothing? Tell me. That was just, I just read that.
Jenna.
I wrote that.
No, I mean,
I know, I'm
first of
sorry.
all,
The words came
they
out
could
by
take his
mistake.
head coaching title away and just have it be czar, just czar of the Patriots. I would be okay with that. Look,
Guru.
I know
Yep.
people are trying to take any opportunity to load up their quiver and shoot an arrow into the greatest coach of all time. But we have a long, storied history of Bill Belichick either not having an offensive coordinator or not having a defensive coordinator. The last time he didn't have either was 2010. And what did the Patriots do, Nick? A lowly 14-2. No, but they had Tom Brady. I get it. We had Tom Brady. Did Tom Brady control the defense? Because we didn't have a defensive coordinator either. So am I worried about this? No, not one iota. In fact, I'll go the other way. You got 3 head coaches. You got Matt Patricia. You got Bill Belichick. You got the mighty Joe Judge. I'm feeling good about it. I'm feeling spectacular
Okay,
about it.
so here's the problem with 2010 analogy. Yes, you had Tom Brady. You had one of Tom Brady's greatest years ever. He had 36 touchdowns, 4 picks. You had the Gronk-Hernandez combo. You had the whole thing. But yeah, they did go 14-2. But Wilds, I didn't look this up this morning because I didn't have to. Because the 2010 NFL postseason is seared into my memory. Like the 2007 college basketball national championship game. And like the Bucks Chiefs Super Bowl. The memories of the times I lost more money than I maybe had to my name gambling on an event. And that event, Wilds, was Patriots-Jets divisional round of the playoffs. So that 2010 season when you had no coordinators and it was all good, you know what happened? When you had that extra week of time to plan and prepare, and it was Bill Belichick talking in a mirror, should we run on defense? What should we run on offense? You let Mark Sanchez come into your building and kick your ass. You trailed the entire second half. I cried. I hate the Patriots, and I cried. Do you know how many people I had to borrow money from to pay back the scary people I owed money to? Because I put the Patriots money line in every bet that week. How could they lose?
Really?
They lost. They lost to Mark Sanchez at home in the divisional round. It happened. So now you guys, bro, they're not going to worry about that this year because they're not going to make the playoffs. But yeah, I wouldn't use 2010 as the example of, oh yeah, it's all fine. You lost to Mark Sanchez at home in the playoffs. Give me a break.
Wilds, I hate to tell you, but Nick is right. This does not bode well for the Patriots. I'm not worried about the defense. Sure, they don't need a defensive coordinator. Belichick is that. And heck, so was Matt Patricia before he became a head coach. They're defensive guys, so they're going to be fine on that side of the ball. Offensively, you brought up all the past success. They have never won a Super Bowl without an offensive coordinator, whether it was Charlie Weiss or Josh McDaniels. And then I mentioned the 3 guys that are calling play. Belichick, Patricia, both defensive guys, and then Joe Judge. That's who the offense is in the hands of. Those 3.
Yeah.
Wilds, they're in trouble. They're not making the playoffs. I'm sorry to tell you.